All right, Alan. Looks like we're live. Appreciate you jumping on. I feel like this was last minute, but I know we've been chatting over the last couple of days, and we've just been out there fishing and haven't had a chance to line on schedule. So I appreciate you jumping on for a few moments tonight.
Hey, you're welcome. I appreciate you having me on tonight with you, Johnny.
Man, we got 4 people on already, so that's good.
Okay.
You have to help me keep an eye out on that. I don't know. Can you see it there in your top left, Alan? I have a live. It shows the time, and it looks like 4 eyeballs. So
Let's see. So far, no, I cannot see how many from the
okay,
view that I've got. I see it says live, yes,
yeah,
but
okay, maybe
mine
it's
doesn't show the view.
gotcha. Oh, it looks Alex have made it. Hey, Alex, welcome. Glad you can jump on. I know it's 7:02. Maybe we'll give it 5 minutes. Maybe start around 7:07, 7:10. I don't know. We'll just see how many people kind of come on there.
Okay. And this is the first time that I've actually been on here with you as a video edition. I personally can't see any of the people that are chiming in. If there's anybody that has chimed in for the private chat.
Yeah, Alan, you should be able to see on the right hand side. I think you might see like a comments box. I don't know if you see that on your side or not.
Oh,
But I know
comments. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. I just had the private chat selected. Thank you for that. So, hi there, Alex. Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining in with us tonight.
Mike should be a little bit more healthier this time. Last time we had a chat, I guess it was last week. Mike had a little cold and took some meds and probably got some rest.
Awesome.
He got to hear about how Doug and I caught him over the last couple of days or over the weekend, and he's like, "Man, I got to get well so I can get out there and start fishing." Oh man, I even got my other buddy Mike on.
Awesome. Thanks for jumping in here with us tonight, guys. I know that Johnny wanted to wait a little bit and see if we had anybody else that wanted to jump in before we started chatting. Was Gordo going to be joining us tonight?
Yeah, he's currently driving, so he's going to try to join in the next couple of minutes.
Gotcha.
Alan, that sweater looks nice and comfortable, man. You know, is that one of like those real soft sweaters that keep you warm? Is that
Oh yeah, yeah. This was a Christmas gift from my younger brother. He the thing arrived in the mail, and I was like, who? I didn't even say who it came from, so it was like a mystery gift coming in the mail. So I ended up like chatting with a bunch of people and trying to find out who the mystery person was, and then he chimed in, "Hey, you got my gift."
Did he?
Yeah, it's actually lined. It's lined underneath with like a fleece, so it's super comfortable, nice and warm.
Do you feel like your brother intentionally did that?
I really do. Yeah.
Send you down a wild goose chase.
That's kind of what it looked like, especially as I was chiming in with other people. And he's like, "Oh, I see you found the mystery person."
Man, Bobber Dan traveling back from Chicago. I imagine it's pretty cold up in Chicago. Alan, you ever spend any time up there?
I've driven through it, but not stayed there. Indiana is basically the closest I was to that area.
You ever thought about going up to Minnesota? I hear there's some good fishing up that way.
I actually have not. I would probably have to. That would be like a good 3-day or 4-day excursion to go up there and have fun.
Hey, you're retired though, right? You know,
I am. Yes. I know I've been growing this out, and I asked my wife, "Do I need?" Because I did the Santa thing over December, so it was about a 4-inch beard. I trimmed it back some and told her, "Do you want me to keep any of it?" And she gave me the thumbs up.
Nice. Well, I don't know if you could tell um, over the weekend, I saw you from a distance, tried to wave you down. Like, man, I'm pretty sure that's Alan. So I can definitely see your white beard and whatnot from the distance.
Yeah, I a couple days ago I got a chance to meet up with Merv and Daniel and a few other guides out there on the lake, and we followed each other from one location to another,
Yeah.
kind of feeding off of each other of what they were doing. All of us giving input to each other. It was a nice conversation.
Nice. Do you feel like it actually worked out? Because I know a lot of times when someone is catching them in a certain spots, you try to go over there, and it seems like by the time you go over there, the party's died down.
Well, that actually was 2 of the cases out of the 4 places that we followed each other around to. We get over there, and then of course people are also watching us. So
Yeah.
it didn't take very long for like an area over by Long Hunter. After 2 of us arrived into the area, it
Yeah.
didn't take very long for that 2 to be 8.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there, like I turn around the corner, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's where the party's at, and we'll scan around a little bit, see some fish and bait and whatnot, but don't seem to have as much luck as others do out there.
Yeah. Well, and as like Alex and both Mikes that are on here, the birds are really what everybody has been watching for first thing in the morning. And as soon as those things move from out by near the shore, as soon as they start moving out where the channel is, obviously everybody knows that the hybrids are going to move and they're not just going to stay in that one location.
Yeah.
So as soon as the birds move away, that means that pretty much that they are moving back out to the channel because they're done with their little feeding frenzy up there where they were.
And it just like it's almost like light switch sometimes, like on and off, like when you're on them, you're on them, and then when they're not there, they're not there.
Yeah, it really is.
It makes it tough fishing.
I think I need to get myself into a different location next time. I'm just in kind of a high traffic kitchen area where it looks like you're more secluded, which works.
Well, I planned this one out a little bit more. Last time I had it a little bit different setup, and it was my first go around, and so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try to make tonight's a little bit nicer. And I didn't do a whole lot. I just basically moved the table another way, and I hung up a picture that I normally have in the garage, and just moved some stuff up. I mean, it didn't take too long, so did it all just for you, Alan. For tonight's special.
Sure.
Podcast.
Yeah. I'm sure that Alex and Mike are believing that 100%.
I don't know if you follow Big Jim Fishing or not, but he's another YouTuber here.
I do. I was watching him live. Was it a couple nights ago?
Yeah. It looks like he's got a really nice setup.
Yeah, he's got a really beautiful studio that he just started. That I think that what was it? It was either a night or 2 ago. I think maybe a couple nights ago, where he did his very first live in there, and he was pretty excited. And we chatted. Well, he chatted to his audience for a while.
Yeah, so I don't feel like I'm as nearly as good as that, like doing a solo trip. And I just basically just want to kind of chat with my friends, and if people join, they join. Great. If they can chime in, even better. But I'm just pretending like me and you are at a restaurant or a bar, just talking fishing and stuff that we normally do. Speaking of just fishing, Mike Sawyer talking about fishing this spring. So Mike, I guess you haven't been out fishing much. I think you have a smaller boat, and sometimes it can get a little windy and sketchy out on a smaller boat.
Oh, hey Mike Sawyer, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of boat do you have? I haven't seen your boat yet. I know we're going to chat about mine here in a little bit. I've got the new 2023 Tracker Targa V19, the walkthrough. So I'll go over some pros and cons that I have actually experienced since doing the motor break-in all the way up to having it out now for a few months onto the lake. I think it's been about 3 or 4 months now that I've got it. I actually picked it up August 26th from Nashville Bass Pro Shop. And if anybody's ever experienced picking up any kind of a new boat from up there, you don't actually, if you order a boat, you don't actually pick it up from that location. I'm not sure if you knew that or not, Johnny.
No, I didn't.
I ordered the boat.
They didn't let you video it. I want to say like you were doing a video and you were planning on like picking it up, but like those guys didn't really want you videoing back there or something.
There was like, yeah, exactly. There was like 3 people from department heads to managers and everything. Nobody wanted to be on video. And I don't know if it was just a shy thing or what it was. But I actually ordered the boat online. And then I went to Bass Pro Shop in Nashville and spoke to the director over in that back area. And when it actually arrived, it doesn't arrive at the Nashville showroom. It arrives at the service center, which is located 5 miles away.
Well, it's not too far.
Yeah, so it wasn't that bad. But when I went there to the actual Nashville location, I see your friend. They actually do all the paperwork over at the showroom, and then to go and pick it up, they actually like tore the plastic right off the outside of it and everything. But 5 miles away, that's where you go and pick the thing up. That's where they'll put it onto your ball hitch and everything for you. They won't allow you to do that. They have to do that, they said.
Really? I guess from a risk perspective.
It's like a risk thing for them. That's exactly right.
All right, maybe that was my cue to get started there with the cat trying to knock some stuff over. But we can just kind of talk a little bit about your boat at first, and then maybe when Gordo joins, we can talk a little bit about hybrid and white bass fishing. So I can go ahead and share my screen and show a picture of your boat. That way, folks kind of have a reference of what you're talking about.
Okay.
And you said you bought this thing in August of last year?
August 26th of 2022.
How long did it take from when you placed your order?
It took about 5-6 months, if I remember right.
So it doesn't seem too long considering with COVID. I feel like these days sometimes things can take a little bit longer than normal.
Yeah. And I was expecting like almost a whole 12-month period, but luckily I think that I ordered it early enough where I was kind of on the front side of when they were coming in. Now, when this boat that everybody can see, when it did arrive up there in Nashville, it was the very first one that Nashville, Tennessee actually got a chance to see with their eyes and touch with their hands in person. I think that they gathered all kinds of mechanics and techs and stuff like that. There was like a swarm of 12 of them around the boat when they were peeling all the plastic off, because this was a new shiny penny to them too. They hadn't seen one yet. And they were interested to see what the 45th anniversary edition looked like to previous models, because every 5 years they turn it into an anniversary edition.
Nice. So this is an anniversary edition, you said?
It is. On the very back of it has a large sticker that has the 45th anniversary edition onto it, which I don't know if that helps the value of these things later, but the length of this, which is crazy, it's actually 19 feet 10 inches, but they call it a 19-footer. Yeah. I would think if you make it over the halfway mark, they round it up, but so I guess depending on who I'm talking to, it's either a 19 or a 20-footer.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna try to bring up your video here because Alex was talking about how it's like good for like hybrid fishing, and so
it's wonderful for that.
Yeah. Because I feel like you got a lot of room and whatnot, right? On the deck.
You really do, and I mean, I can send the pic. I wish, Alex, that I could figure out how to put pictures up from where I'm at, But right now, I'm currently shooting them over to Johnny through Messenger.
Yeah,
But I
all right,
can show you I can show you easily what the inside of this boat looks like. But it's actually wonderful for hybrids. This, and I mean, you've obviously the Deep V is great. It handles great with high water. I've got friends that own this, the 18 or the 19 footer up around the Great Lakes, and they love getting out there on Lake Erie or Michigan itself with the 3-4 foot waves.
Roberto must be in the store or something. They're getting some background noise.
Yeah, he's jamming.
Oh, he's at the gym. Man, he's dedicated.
Hold on, I'm trying to. Man, I didn't think I would.
You trying to get more swole?
Man, I'm trying to get it off.
Man, he's catch such a big fish. He's got to work out. And bring up that stamina, working his arms.
Is that better now?
In regards to like the sound or
the sound, yeah.
In regards to the background noise and all that.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, cool. I got my son with me. My wife. There's my wife.
Yeah, got the whole family here. I was just catching up with Alan, man. He picked up a boat a few months back, his first bass tracker, and feel like it sets up well for fishing hybrids. Gordo, what was your first boat?
My first
I shot you
boat.
some pictures too.
My first, man, this was actually my real first boat, to be honest with you. I did buy my first boat, I bought a 86 Stratus, and I bought a Lemon, basically. I bought it, the guy, I didn't know anything about water testing or anything like that. And what ended up happening was the motor would run. But when you put it in the water, it would just die. And so so it ended up being a bad cylinder. Plus, the transmission was cracked and leaking and stuff like that. It was a nightmare.
What year was that boat?
That was an 86 Stratus. So I lost like $4,000 on the boat. And then I bought me a 89 Pro Crab from a one owner. I mean, I still got the title laminated when he bought it at the dealer. The boat was in pretty bad shape, but it had a Yamaha 90 on it, and that was kind of like my first bass fishing. But I fell off the boat because it was only like a small little 16-foot boat.
Yeah.
So when waves would come, and then I was in search of a new boat, but I didn't want to spend 20 grand and or more and have engine problems, and then I'm in trouble. So I decided to go new, and I shopped around, and I ended up seeing the Nitro. And the Nitro, for a 19-foot boat with the 200 on it, the Nitro had the widest deck.
And that was something that was important from you, just from like a rod's perspective, or just like fishability.
Well, just because I'm a big dude in general, 6'4", I needed the space, and so I needed to feel comfortable and safe. And so, yeah, I've had it now. This is 2021. I've had it 2 years now. And I love it. Great boat. Love it.
Yeah, Alan was talking about how he bought his from Bass Pro there in Opry Mills, but put the order in there and had to go somewhere 5 miles down the road. Did you have a similar experience, or you bought from somewhere else?
I saw uh, the color scheme was what got me on mine. I saw it online, and I drove all the way to Knoxville to Knox Power Sports to get it.
Nice.
I know I could definitely relate as far as that smaller boat thing going. My first one was a 16-footer also, and I actually shot a picture over to Johnny. Mine was a 1988 Jason bass boat, which of course they discontinued those a while back. But that Jason had a 88 special. There it is. Had an 88 special on the back, which I guess it was probably run close to 95 or 100 really. But top speed I think was like 34 miles an hour. But yeah, that was, I could definitely relate to what you're saying, Gordo. That's a 16-footer right there. And so, it is what it is. I had it for
I think actually, first time I met you, Alan, we went out on this boat, right?
That is exactly the first boat that me and you went out on together.
Nice.
Yeah, it's tough trying to be offshore out there in the summertime with all those wake boats out there.
Yeah. I know Mike Sawyer, he's online. He fishes out of like a 10-foot John boat. So I'm sure he enjoys those jet skis and wake boats all around him, in the summertime.
I'm telling you, that's a kayak for me.
We're talking about, boats and whatnot. Alan, I think in your recent video, you said you launched from Long Hunter because it's actually got a floating dock, with Percy Priest with the winter pull. All the other docks are a little challenging to launch from. Gordo, where do you like to launch from?
I launched from Four Corners.
Yeah. And you don't mind like beaching that one, the dock's out, right? So you kind of have to like beach it on the ramp.
1 second. What was that again?
Like when you launch from Four Corners, like you have to like kind of beach it on the boat ramp.
Yeah. But what's cool with mine is that I was able. I have a keel guard on mine,
Yeah.
so that helps out tremendously.
Well, and I've got that Altera, so that I can actually sit there, and it's kind of like controlling a great big remote control boat. So as soon as I launch it from the trailer, luckily I've gotten comfortable with this thing enough so I can deploy that thing and spot lock it away from anybody, go park my truck, come back. And it freaks some people out because they think that the boat is actually like freewheeling out there. Yeah. So I can spot lock that thing and I'm good to go. And then I just come back out to the shore and I can bring it up.
I actually tried that. I actually tried that one time because I got an Ultex. I tried that one time and left the remote hanging around my neck when I went to go park the truck. Before you know it, I had to go swimming.
You're exactly right. You got to remember to take your remote off and like tuck it over on the side of a rock or somewhere, because it will disconnect if you go too far away.
Yep, I had to go swimming to go get my boat.
Man, so that's a good tip for folks, right? If they have one of those auto deploy trolling motors, I guess if you get a certain distance away.
Correct. If you're gonna auto or if you're gonna deploy your troller, one of those Alteras or something like that with your iPilots, you definitely don't want to haul butt back into the parking lot while your boat is spot locked out away from anybody, because it will disconnect if you get too far away.
Yeah. So we talked about launching from Long Hunter and Four Corners. Alan, I think you were out there this weekend. Gordo, you were probably out there too. And so, Alan, won't we just a quick summary of your trip? You can make a plug for your YouTube channel because you caught a few fish there, and kind of talk about what you're using, and maybe as Gordo's listening, maybe you can kind of chime in also.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Well, a couple days ago I was out there, and it was probably about first thing in the morning would have been about 21 degrees. So I kind of wimped out on doing that and waited a couple hours. And ended up being like 28 degrees, I think, when I ended up launching. And the water temperature was about 46, which I think right now it's probably similar, high 40s. So when I launched out at Long Hunter, I cruised out to basically just out in that area to start out. I was doing some jigging in the beginning just to try to feel it out and see what was going to be working. I tried a couple different kinds of jigs. They just didn't really, nothing that I could see on the screen was really touching the three different kinds of jigs that I was going with. So I decided that I was just going to do some trolling. This right here is what I was using to do my trolling with. So just something really simple.
What the big swim bait looks like. Do you know how big those swim baits are, Alan? Like
they're actually 3 inches long.
Okay. Gotcha. Hey Gordo, one of the things that Alan touched based on was like the ambient temperature, like how actually cold it was, and the water temperature. Now I want to say that you were out there giving like electronic lesson, and so I think you were out there braving the code also, right?
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I look for when I get out is water temperature, because you can go one part of the lake and it's 2 degrees different than another part of the lake. And that makes a big difference. Especially when, hybrid fishing.
Do you feel like maybe certain sides of the bank, with the sun rising one way and it beating down on the bank or a bluff wall, maybe that side will tend to warm up quicker? Or do you think it's more like water clarity, where like dirtier water warm up quicker versus like a clear water or a depth? Maybe you can kind of elaborate on that.
I think I always find warmer water when it's a little bit dirtier on a little bit stainer water, muddy water. But I kind of try to find the middle ground in between both of them, the hybrid fish. If I see an area of the lake that's a little bit too muddy, I'm not even gonna focus in that part of the lake unless I'm bass fishing. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I know. I see where Volunteer said that he launched out there at 7 points, terrible decisions, struck out on Sunday. If you don't mind me asking there, Volunteer, what was the terrible decision that you encountered?
And maybe while Volunteer Fisherman is typing that, Gordo, you spend much time in that 7 points area this time of year, just from like running the boat wise, like how sketchy is that area? At Winter Pool, you feel like that area's got a lot of big rocks and you really got to know where you're going and pay attention to electronics?
I mean, you have to, obviously, because it can get pretty sketchy. I've actually seen a couple parts of the area where it's not really defined on the map, but you can clearly see that it's hazardous. But I think that as long as you're, this time of year, anytime you're running Percy Creek or Rocky Lake the way it is here, you want to make sure that you pay attention to your map. Because if not, I mean, and if you can adjust your map levels, I think that's a big problem. That's why I like, my Humminbird. I can adjust the lake level. Every day I get on the water, first thing I do is go to TVA website, see what the lake level is, and then I adjust my map according to what that is. That way I know, I got 5 feet or less, marked in red. And so I kind of know what to avoid.
Yeah,
I see that Alex just chimed in. He says, got to use that depth offset. use negative when the water is low. And I definitely know out there at 7 points that water being so low at Winter Pool right now with no dock access that you've got, that, I mean, you just have to be cautious of where you're going to try to get on your boat when you launch it out there for sure. That's kind of why I've gravitated towards Long Hunter right now, because they've got a dock that's literally sitting in the water. So you can have your outboard all the way down in the water at the dock and fire it up and pull away. You don't have to worry about just raising your trolling motor up high and getting away from the dock and then lowering it. It's still deep enough with that dock that's in the water.
Yeah. Hey, Alan, you talked about when you started fishing, you were jigging and all other good stuff. I'm pretty sure you have live scope on your boat, right?
I do. I've got live scope with two of those 93 SVs, one in the front and one at the steering wheel.
Yeah. And I think I also heard a thumper in your video.
Correct. I've got one that's called a Warrior Thumper. I'm not sure if anybody heard about that one. The guy's out of Nashville area. But it's works great. It's actually water sealed in case, so because some of these compartments, they say they're waterproof or watertight, but they're really not. And this one here, the compartment that I had it into with a heavy rain, found out when I got back to the shore that the very bottom of my compartment actually had moisture in it, but the container itself was great.
Right. What's your thoughts on the thumper, Gordo? With your bass boat, I don't see too many bass boat guys with thumpers in theirs. You have one set up now.
I don't need it.
You're more like hunting for them, right? Using your electronics, finding the bait.
To me, and I'm just being honest with you. To me, when I'm hybrid fishing, it's all about that hunt game. I like to move up and down. I kind of keep my head on a swivel, and it's just kind of like a cat and mouse game to me. When you're fishing, when you're bass fishing, you kind of know what you're looking for, and what you're going to fish for, and what type of baits you're going to use and stuff like that when you're bass fishing. But when you're hybrid fishing, it's kind of like catch me if you can, because they're always on the go. They're always on the move. So when that happens, I don't use a thumper. I mean, it may work. I know it works for most people. I think to me, it's more efficient to me from what I can gather. It's more like a live bait type of game. If you're fishing live bait and stuff like that, then that's probably something that you will utilize. But man, I'm not into thumpers or anything like that.
Gotcha.
I know one of the jigs that I used recently, a couple days ago, that I was using before, or that actually did work when I was doing some trolling, was Rage Swimmer. You ever used those before?
Rage Swimmer. Nah. That's another thing I don't do. I don't troll. If I'm trolling, I'm just moving from one spot to the other.
Oh no, this was just jigging. This was just this was a single.
Swim bait.
You can cast the thing out, reel it in, or you could just sit there and do dead sticking with it. But it was a Rage Swimmer is what I was using.
Yeah, I think that's probably like similar to the like high-tech swim bait, like those Fat Impacts or something like that, maybe.
I wish that I had one live that I could just like hold up. It's sitting on my poles that are out in my boat right now, the ones that I've got set up. And I'm probably like most people, I've got my poles are kind of already preset, depending on what I'm going to go out and hit the water with. If it's going to be large or smallmouth, or if it's going to be crappie poles are different, than the other ones too, of course.
Now,
I think
that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, what is it? Right there you go. Yeah. The one that I was using actually was more of a white and chartreuse combo, and it just seemed like it was working really good for what I was getting. But of course, that little paddle tail on the back of it shows a lot of action. Yeah, that right there was probably more similar to what I was using.
Yeah. Now, how picky are you on color, Alan? You feel more confident? I said, how confident? I mean, how picky you are on colors? Do you like to try to stick more to like a natural color, or do you like chartreuses or bright colors?
Well, I mean, I'll use these things right here, and I'll go to some super flukes that are out there also. But I've just myself, I don't know where Gordo's at, but myself, I found that the having a little chartreuse in your artificial right now it seems like it's good winter baits, a winter color.
Yeah. Gordo, what's your thoughts? Do you have like a confidence color? Do you kind of change colors based on water clarity, or do you have how you're throwing that day?
I used to feel that way, and I'm not trying to be cocky or anything like that.
No.
But now to me, it kind of doesn't matter. You know, it's more about
Hiding the fish.
it's more about how you're hunting them down and how you're working them. You know, you're not gonna catch every fish in the lake, but if you see a school of 50 fish, you know, you'll probably catch 2, you know, out of that school, but you just hop on to the next spot. I mean, you know, but I will say this, I use torrent baits a lot. You
said small baits?
Torrent
bait. Yeah.
Yep. I use torrent baits, especially if I know that the fish are aggressive. If they're not, then I'll go with something more finessey, and I'll use a high-tech. And I'll just downsize the size of it. Because when you hook into some of those shad, you can actually see the size.
They're small.
And
yeah.
they're never any much bigger than a 2.8.
Yeah.
I see Mike Sawyer. He prefers the screw lock when he's fishing with those. I see.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes screw locks keep them stay on there.
Yeah, and I've used the screw locks too. I think I've got like about 2 or 3 different kinds. Screw lock is one that I will use. I don't just stay with a screw lock though. Now I've seen Mike. You also said the side to side wobble with a belly weight. Do you like that one? Okay.
Hey, why don't we talk a little bit about fishing line? Because Gordo, I know you like to cast a lot of times. You're not just trolling. You know, with these hybrids, I've seen you catch 8-10 pounders. If somebody is watching this, what type of line, like fluorocarbon, mono, and size pound?
I like to call it the 10 and 10. 10-pound braid to 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. That's it.
What type of union knot?
I tie FG knot on everything.
Gotcha. What about you, Alan? What are you using when you're casting out a lure?
I think I've got a couple poles that have 10 on it, but majority of mine have, and only because last year I did have 10-pound, or actually I had 8-pound on one of them, and it was over a 10-pounder that was on there, and I was really struggling getting that in there because of the way it was actually just pulling against me. So not necessarily that was the right decision, but I switched most of my hybrid poles over to 12 test on that. But I mean, you'd be fine with 10, obviously. I mean, I've seen a lot of Gordo's videos too, or even the still pictures of the footballs that he brings in. And if he's using 10, obviously, you don't need the strong arm those things coming in.
Yeah.
No.
Alan, are you using a fluorocarbon or mono or?
Mono is actually what I've got on majority of mine. I mean, I think I've got a braid on a couple, but I think it just depends. The braid I haven't used during winter pool. The mono is what I've been using out here during the winter time.
Gotcha.
I know some people like braid more. I've talked to other pro anglers that a lot of their sticks have braid onto it.
Yeah. And Gordo, I know you also bass fish, but I almost feel like that whether or not to use braid or furl, I mean, it's really kind of dependent on what technique you're using, right? Or you do the 10 and 10 for bass fishing also.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime I use a spinning rod, for the exception of just a jerkbait, I'll use 10-pound braid to maybe when I go up north, I'll use a 6 or 8-pound leader.
Okay.
Now you're like downsizing because you feel like up north that water is clear, and so you feel like you increase your likelihood of catching a fish by using
Well,
ROI.
it's a combination of how clear the water is. When you're 11 feet, you can see almost the bottom pretty much. Um, it's a combination of that, and also it gives your lure a little bit more action.
Okay. Well, Alex Roberts said that he's going to have to jump. I just wanted to acknowledge him and say thanks for jumping on here with us.
So, Alan, when is your next fishing trip, and you gonna try to apply anything that you learned from last weekend? I know you caught some, but is there anything that you wish you'd done differently from last weekend?
I think so. Yeah, I'm actually going to be out of town. I'm going to Georgia for the weekend. I'll be back Tuesday. So about the 24th is when I will be back in town, and hopefully everything aligns where I can get back out onto the water that day. So it won't be before the 24th, just because I have family obligations in Georgia. Let's see. I'm going to be trying to do some Binks spoon dead sticking when I go out there. I'm going to be joining. I'm actually going to be with. I can't remember the guy's name. James. Son of a gun. Me and Daniel and a couple other guys are all going to go out together. And this is going to be, I think, on the 24th or 25th. So we're just going to kind of have a great time chatting it up a little bit with each other, catching up, because it's been a while since we've all gotten together. Loving on each other a little bit, and praying that our new year is on track the way that everybody's been wanting it.
Yeah.
But we're just going to get together and do some fellowship fishing, enjoying. It's probably going to be either crappie or hybrid. I don't know if we've really locked in what we're going to do yet. Most likely it's going to be hybrid, though. I'm running a little low on some fillets. So I've got some grandkids that like it.
Gordo, you do any crappie fishing? I wonder how much of that, like crappie fishing, relates to like hybrid fishing. I mean, I feel like the crappie's set up differently than hybrids because hybrids are always moving. Crappie's probably always stacked up, right? Maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about that.
It's a little similar in some cases. I'm not that good at crappie fishing just because I haven't done it enough. I know what to do. I've been out with Brian Carper. God Service. I've been out with Brian multiple times, and we've had some fun catching some crappie. But I think that he's got that technique, down pat. It's similar to a hybrid, whereas I've kind of figured out what works for me. Also, shout out to I gotta show this straight up mount, great mount. You're looking for a mount, great mount. I love it.
Yeah, I actually have those on my boat too. or a mount on my boat, over my trolling motor.
Ah,
Oh yeah, love it, love it. I think it's a great price for for what it is. It's solid. And man, my dual graph looks awesome. And the fact that I was able to raise it up a little bit because I'm tall. I don't have those big 12s and 15s on my boat. Unfortunately, I got, well, let me say fortunately, because they're a blessing. I got 6 kids. So, you know, uh, Christmas, I work only for Christmas and birthdays.
Hey, Gordo, Alan was talking about how he's going to be using, big spoons on his next trip, catching with other guys. But I feel like you had an electronic trip. Like I think a lot of people when they think about like, syncing up with a fishing guide, it's just like running around like catching fish. But something that Brian Carper also does it like electronics, right? It sounds like you also gave a lesson on it. Maybe you can
Yeah,
talk.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a little bit of everything. We kind of show you how to interpret, what you're looking at, what to look for when you're out there, how to use your map, what you're looking for when you're using your map, how to adjust your settings and things like that. Obviously you want to have, we can't fix all the problems. So if you come in there with a bunch of interference on your stuff, then, the issue is probably not, the issue is probably an installation issue, not not just a user issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, you probably don't have clean power or not enough power, you know. Um, um, and that's one thing that we talked about, that you want to have clean power. You don't want to use the same battery that your solar motor is on to run, your grabs or anything like that. Um, and, we talked about how to adjust. And I'll be doing some videos here pretty soon on Hummingbird myself because I feel like I've gotten there was a time where I bought into the Mega Live sucks team there where everybody thought, oh, Mega Live just sucks. So, well, actually, I've got mine dialed in. I could see I got mine set at 70 to 80 feet. That's all I need to see. You know, and I can see my bait clearly. Um, Even when I'm fishing, I don't have to be fishing big Alabama rigs to see my bait, and things like that. So, is Garmin probably a better product? Oh, absolutely. I mean, the image is a little clearer, but
I agree.
for what you have, just think, a few years ago, you was not able to see fish in your bait.
yeah,
So just to be able, I think we're spoiled just to be able to see, your bait now and the fish or the bait ball. I mean, that's just enough right there, you know. But I think that we're in this age where we're spoiled. It's like, oh, I need it to be cleaner. Oh, I need it to be better, And I've kind of grasp the concept to where I'm like, you know what, I'm happy with this. This works, and I got a clean image. I can see fish clearly. I can see my bait clearly. Um, and it's just like that.
yeah. What about the 360? You also have 360, right? Or
I think if you don't have a 360, I think there's a problem with you.
yeah, even for hybrid
Yeah,
fishing.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh,
Yeah.
even more hybrid fishing. Oh, you have no idea. When you're on top of a school, you will see those big. It looks like maggots all over your screen. You know, you. And if you're on a spool that's tight, folded together, and you can look down at your 360 and know that school is behind the boat at 6 o'clock. You know, and I could whip my boat around real fast and chase them down. You know, um, um, So I think, when it comes to hybrid fishing, that's what I would use my my 360 for. When I'm bass fishing, 360 is not really that useful to me on Percy Creek Lake because it's just on rock.
Rocks.
Unless
Grass.
I'll give you a nugget. You see those big old cracks that you see with those rocks that everybody doesn't want to fish? That's what
those ledges.
No, I'm
No,
talking
like
about
those
on the bank.
cracks in the
I'm talking
Oh, I
about
got
the
you.
bank.
I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about. Yeah.
that's money right there. That is money. Um,
Now, I'm
you
sure
know,
you guys have done it, but with my graph, I've actually, once I adjust my graph to what the lake depth is, I actually have color sequencing done on my graph. So the red, of course, is below a certain depth, and then you've got the yellows and the greens and stuff like that. So I've got the different colors, probably similar to what you guys have got. I've got the different colors that are actually signifying different depths that I'm encountering when I'm driving around or if I'm just trolling anywhere.
I will say this on the topic of hybrid. Um, on the topic of hybrid, when I use my map and I figured out the depth that the hybrid are holding in, when I figured out that they're not shallow, they're probably not going to move shallow. I will. I only run two colors on my map. I'll use red for my shallow water, that do not enter zone. And then I'll use a green every day. It changes. So what I do is if I see bait at 10 to 20 feet, let's say 15 to 20 feet, the bait is just constant right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight 10 to 20 feet in green. And those are the only two colors I need to see, red and green, so that I know where to stay at. So if I'm running down a lake and I see a big old area of green there, I know that that's where I'm going to stay and fish.
Dude, that's a great tip.
And I think
I used to. I'm sorry. I used to do that. I used to at first. I had red, shallow, then the colors just kept progressing with every 5 to 10 feet or so, and stuff like that. But then I kind of learned how to use my map to just, target the areas that I'm going to fish. Because here's the thing. If you run down the lake, let's just say it's a new body of water that you don't know, right? You think you saw something that you're headed to an area that you already found on a map, and you said, I need to go to this area, right? And you got your 15 to 20, 25 feet range that the fish are holding at. And you go past an area that you didn't even know that was there, and it's highlighted in green, and it looks like a nice little ditch or something like that. That's something you would have missed,
Gotcha.
and with highlighting just the depth that I'm going to be fishing and what I believe the fish are holding at, that's why I say it's the only two colors I need to see.
Okay. I guess when I was referencing those colors that I was using earlier, is basically when I'm moving around with my boat, not necessarily just looking for the fish itself. But if I'm cruising around with the boat, I've got basically those three colors with the yellow in the middle. So because winter pool, to me, if I'm in an area that, you're probably out on the lake a little more often than, myself and Johnny both right now because of what you're doing with Brian. But there's areas that because of the winter pool, I'm not sure what the real depth is versus Navy Onyx. And so when I've adjusted my graph to what the real depth of the lake is, and those 3 colors are on there, it's kind of like a guide for me to know with the new water level that's out there if I'm in an area that I haven't cruised before.
And you're using Garmin's, right, Alan?
Yes, sir, I am. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Gordo, you're using Humminbirds?
Yeah.
Cool. And then I think I saw a picture of you posting iPad on your side, right? And you're also using that also to help kind of navigate around the lake?
Yeah. So I'm loving my iPad. It's very accurate. I've even tested out and run into some places that people are scared to run into. Because you want to know what you're doing. And you want to make sure something works. It's GPS. So I run Navionics and CMAP side by side.
Okay.
Because each map, I mean, there's certain contours and stuff that each one doesn't show like the other one. And I like the new shade relief, like a 3D imaging.
Yeah, like an overlay.
Yeah, and that is a game changer right there.
Yeah,
that is, man, and I think that instead of me buying another unit to put on my boat, I utilize what I got, and I don't have to spend $299 for a CMAP card or Navionics card when I just pay, I think it's like $14 a year subscription.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So so I use that to run my honey. My maps. Oh, and also I have it all linked to all my Humminbirds and my engine. So it's I like seeing all that. I'm a tech geek.
Yeah.
Oh, and Johnny
has a pretty good mount on that, right, Gordo?
Yeah, I put yeah. Today I tried it kind of like the regular way. Normally I keep it like the landscape mode. But I put a RAM mount on there, and that's like the best RAM mount you can get for a 12-inch iPad. I used to have a smaller iPad, which is probably a little better to run on my boat, but to keep people from bumping into it all the time. But man, I ran that thing in rough water, and it is held strong. So I'm really digging it.
So
do you use a similar RAM mount for the front of your boat?
No, for my iPad I use a RAM mount. For the front of my boat, I got these guys right here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Gordo, on the screen on your iPad, the top part, that's Navionics, right? And then on the bottom half, it's CMAP.
Yep.
Cool.
And see, and here's the thing. The reason why I wanted my map separate from my unit was so that I can see everything clearly on my unit when I'm running my side scan and my down images.
Gotcha. Do you have to have like internet service or anything to use that iPad?
Man, I don't know. I got like mine has service. But I'm not sure if you need to have it to run. I think that probably for accuracy you probably need to, but I don't know. That's a good question because I don't have the answer to it. Somebody asked me and I just never looked it up.
Yeah.
But I do have service on mine, so
Yeah. Well, I know you're at the gym working out in Gordo, and I think we're an hour into the chat, but we wanted to leave the viewers with any type of information or anything you're looking forward to. You got a new gear that you want to try, or you've seen something new that looks really interesting, maybe y'all can spend maybe a minute or two talking about that. So, Alan, I'll let you go first, and then Gordo, I'll let you kind of chime in afterwards.
Let me see. Honestly, I thought you were going to let Gordo go first. I was trying to find a picture to send to you about something. As far as what kind of bait,
is there like a certain kind of new bait, or is there a certain lure or fishing gear that you're looking forward to trying that you just bought or that you're looking to buy?
Well, I think that I'm looking forward to trying out some of these different colored super flukes that are out there. There's some red ones. There's some blue ones. I've got a buddy that I actually chat with over in Oklahoma. You guys have probably seen his videos too, but we chat offline too. Boone Boone's boy. Okay. Anyway, he goes out with his dad and his two sons a lot, and they're strictly hybrid fishing. But we've been chatting about some of the super flukes that are working great for him out there, and he does a lot of just dead sticking. But they're now here in Tennessee, we've got 2 for a limit for the hybrids. Out there, they've got like over 10 per person. They just have a higher quantity that they can have. So, the super fluke, I think that's what you're pulling up. Made by Zoom, of course, yeah. But they have so many different colors. I think I'm just interested in trying some of these the darker colors that they've got out here. I think one's called like a dragon red or something like that, or a fire red. And they've some of the darker colors is what he has great luck with, and I'm just kind of interested to see how they're going to work over here in Percy Priest. I know the water temperature is a little different from Oklahoma than here, but he's thinking that we're going to have just as much luck over here that he's having over there on his. I mean, it's no big deal for him to fill up 2 55-gallon coolers when him and his family are out, and they usually donate their the fish that they do catch because they have such an abundance. They usually donate them to shelters and stuff like that when they go out and come back in. But I'm interested in trying some super flukes myself. I would like to probably see what kind of trolling setups that you've got, Johnny. I've seen you throw a couple out there when you're trolling.
Yeah, no, I don't really troll. When I'm trolling, I'm out there with murder.
Oh no, I guess not just trolling. When you're actually just casting out and you're just bringing it back in. Yeah. You've used a couple that I've never used before, and I might be interested in trying some of those.
Yeah, my basic setup is pretty. I mean, I'm just throwing like a basic A rig with some 3-inch swim baits. I tried to been throwing that thunder rig around some, which maybe that might be a good segue because I think Gordo, you actually caught some fish on the thunder rig, right? I haven't had much luck on my side.
I think Gordo, isn't that your go-to kind of the thunder?
Makes noise. Yeah. I use torrent baits, the Thresher 4.2. But I said I use a Contact as well. It just depends. It depends on the mood of the fish. You know what I think. It takes me probably an hour of being on the water, and then I can tell you that it's gonna be a grind, or or it's gonna get better. I think that what I like about using torrent baits this time of year, if you've thrown it, I mean, it has a subtle little, it doesn't hit as much as a Contact does, even in cold water. I mean, it's really subtle. I like that. I got some tricks that I do to kind of cut the tail. But
well, those Threshers have got a cut tail already, correct?
Well, they have a paddle. And then they have where you can manipulate it if you want to. So if you wanted to have action, you leave that paddle alone. If you don't want it to have action, you just kind of just cut it the way you want to. That always works. But I normally throw when I throw a rig, because the a rig is no secret, right? When I throw an a rig, on the Thunder Rocket, I will throw the 4.2 Thresher on there. And I'll throw chartreuse and green, which is I think it's called the Blue Lightning or something like that. And then or if the water's, if I feel like the water's a little bit too much dingier, I'll probably go to that all white pearl one that they have. But either one, I think
you said solid pearl, white. I mean,
yeah, that white that Torrent Bait has works good as well. But then if I feel like they're being a little picky, then that's when I'll throw a smaller rig, a more compact one. I'll throw that Diamond 3.5 tight wad with little 2.8 Tytex on them, and show them something a little different, you know. But you know, if I see that a lot of people are not having success and all they're doing is throwing Alabama rigs, then I got a trick for that too.
Yeah, so when we're talking about Alabama rigs, you know, if somebody finds this video later and don't know what a Alabama rig is, I think Alan shared with me what he's throwing, so we can just kind of show that here real quick. And so you should be able to see that. Yeah, so Alan, it looks like you got some different colors there, right?
This is also one that that Merv likes to gravitate towards too. But yeah, this one right here that I've got, it is just a combination of a couple different colors. It gets a lot of action though. Really gets a lot of action. Yeah.
Did you send me another one here?
I think I might have a little bit, and I apologize. I wish that I could share these directly. I haven't figured out how to do that.
Oh, you're good. So what we again, we're a little over an hour. We've got 5 folks on. Gordo, any last words? I don't know if you. I know you're real big on fellowship and God's word. I don't know if you want to leave us with a quote or point people out to Brian's page or whatnot.
Oh, you know, I absolutely. You know, if you're looking to learn, you know, even I do it. I book guided trips with. Hey, honey. I book guided trips with other guides. You know, because there's knowledge that can be shared. And I think that, you know, if you're looking to catch some big hybrid or crappie, or even learn techniques on catching bass, Brian's been crushing bass on in the winter. I think you should definitely go to briancarper.com and book a trip. Also, you know, support your local tackle. I can't express that enough. You know, support your local tackle. You know, Torrent Outdoors, Straight Up Mounts. You know, and I think Torrent Outdoors got some great baits. I think John's going places. I just want to be there with him when he does. You know,
I'm definitely about supporting small business places. I've been doing that for years everywhere that I go. I'm a retired Army Ranger, and after 25 years of being in, I've been to a lot of different places, and I really do. I really do like to support small businesses. So yeah, I mean, even the smaller tackle shops and stuff like that, those guys, they need to be able to stick around. So I'm a big fan of that also. And I from time to time will take a military guy that's going through some PTSD or something out on my boat, and we'll kind of chat a little bit about some things that they might be going through or things that I've gone through. So we love up on each other a little bit with because mental health is such a big deal.
Yep. Alan, before we go, you want to tell folks about your YouTube channel and maybe what they can expect on your next video?
Yeah, sure can. Well, my next video is going to be hybrid related. And I appreciate you doing a little plug earlier, but it's Alan Bear's Fishing Adventures. And in parentheses, I've got retired Army vet right next to it, but you can find that on YouTube. I think most of the videos that I've posted recently are hybrid related. Some of the older ones, I've got some crappie on there. And I think that I even put my Christmas yard display that ate up a whole month of my time of not getting onto the water. But yeah, if you wanted to check out my next video is going to be a hybrid related one though, Alan Bear Fishing Adventures.
All right. Well, good deal. Like I said, my battery's about to die here. Gordo, I appreciate you jumping on, man. I know you're at the gym there and take some time with me with it being last minute. Alan, I'll catch up with you later, man. Y'all have a good night. Talk to y'all later.
I appreciate it. Always a pleasure seeing you, Gordo and Johnny.
All right. We'll see you.
Bye. Likewise. Take care.
Have a good night, guys.